Hey everybody! We hosted a spontaneous live stream when the Avatar live-action Netflix series was announced. Here's an edited-down version of that 3-hour live stream. But before we dive in, our insanely talented editor, Alex, opened a GoFundMe to help her mom get out of debt. You can read her full story provided in the GoFundMe link in the description. Alex is responsible for some of your favorite original Project VOICEBEND animations, and without her stepping up to the plate, we would still be working on episode 21/22. She's done so much for this series for the past 3 years without compensation, all while her family is in a tight spot. If you have ever wanted to monetarily support Project VOICEBEND, this is how we ask that you do it. Please donate if you can. Any amount goes a long way. You can also purchase some of our merch. Stay tuned for some new designs releasing soon. You can also purchase our songs from our Bandcamp. They're all free to download with an option to pay any price. All proceeds will go to Alex's GoFundMe. If you're unable to spare the money, you can still really help by reblogging and retweeting our donation posts. All links are provided in the description. Thanks for listening and helping any way that you can. We all deeply appreciate it. Without further ado, here's Kayla, Hayley, and Vanny discussing the new live-action series.
Where do we even start?
Kayla and I have zero high hopes for it, and let us tell you why. Number one,
Here in our fair and balanced live stream, we have
absolutely.
we have one person that's very neutral and diplomatic, and that's Vanny. And then we've got us.
Just fucking ruining everything, just like storming in.
Okay, so following what Soul Reaver said, what was your initial thoughts? You heard this, and like, what was the first thing that ran through your mind?
Fuck.
Oh no.
Like, literally.
I just thought, oh no. Like, basically, like, when I hear the words, like, live action adaptation, I don't care if the original showrunners are behind it or if it's a whole different person. I do not have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
It's never been good. Like, ever. And sometimes book live action adaptations are fine. Some of them suck. But then with animation, it's like, it's not even a question. Like, there's maybe one or two that are good, but the rest of them are just hell. Like, hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like, considering Netflix's kind of budget when it comes to TV shows, not movies, TV shows.
Yeah.
They aren't that amazing. And, like, Avatar kind of requires that the water bending and, like, just bending all the elements in general look as realistic as possible. Otherwise, you're going to lose that immersion like we did with Shyamalan's thing.
Otherwise, you're going to see one single rock slowly float across the screen.
With the effort of, like, 6 people.
Y'all, I can't do that again. I cannot do it
like,
again.
A lot of things in Avatar are more cartoony, like the humor and all that stuff. And, like, that really leans into animation to make it work. Live action, that kind of stuff won't work. The only thing I would expect it to do was, like, be either completely some kind of drama or make the humor more, like, quippy and #relatable and not the things that we thought were funny with the original.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the English dub for Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh my god.
It's all like, yo, dude, Pops, what's up? And it's like, no, this is funny. And I don't know.
How do you do, fellow kids?
I don't want them to Riverdale it, though. I don't want them to take something like...
But, like, can you imagine Bryke just being like, we're excited to share many more stories with Avatar and have this culturally appropriate cast and all that. And then when it premieres, it's like some Riverdale modern day shit, like hanging everybody in like a cafe, just like being all emo and shit.
It's the live action modern AU.
Will Erring discover who killed his father. Will Erring.
No, but Katara figure out who killed his mother. Or why. And then
Katara will start getting moist in this series.
No!
That's her origin story.
Okay.
But yeah, like we've had like honestly the editing chat on Skype has gotten more heated and like unanimously like no please than the regular PvP chat, because everyone's talking about it like so civilly and being like, well, and writing like long paragraphs about like their thoughts, and we're just over here like, no. No.
I refuse to listen.
No.
I literally got into a fight with poor Sam because like I was getting so heated about this.
Yeah.
We worked it out though. Sam and I are butts.
Yeah, but like this is some serious shit, guys. Like this is what you do. Think about that while you're in timeout.
Okay, you don't mess with perfection. And that's just like my number one comment on this. You don't mess with perfection.
But I feel like they're not going to go the same route. And I'm saying that based on this one line that Reich said. They're going to take the original animated series and go even deeper into the character, story, action, and world building. So to me, it sounds like it might be kind of the same, but it might be a bit different too. Or they might add...
I guess, but like at the same time, it's still essentially the same story with a bunch of stuff added to it. Like the live action Beauty and the Beast that sucked.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Do you guys remember back in the day, back in the olden times, when we used to have to do the thing where when we talked about Avatar, they were like, wait. Do you mean the blue people or do you mean the cartoon? So like finally, it kind of feels like we've gotten to a point though where it's not as much of a problem. It's
just wait, like James Cameron is making like 4 or 5 more Avatar movies in the next like 5 years.
Well, at the moment, it's not as much of a problem, but we're now going to have to be like, wait, the blue people, the cartoon, or the live action version, and it's like, wait,
like it's so confusing.
It's going to be called something different, I'm pretty sure. Somebody on the Instagram comments, and I think Kyle right here just says, what if there was a Korra live-action series announced instead of Atla? And I feel like I would have liked it better because on Netflix Medium, you could be a bit more darker.
Exactly.
And yes. They can kind of retcon shit that, like, wasn't fleshed out, at least in the beginning.
See, that's like Masami and book too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sam said, like even if the live action show is bad, it won't ruin the original content. I understand where it's coming from, but like at the same time, it's like we invest a lot of time into these shows, including like the ones that we watched as kids or teenagers or stuff, like Death Note with me. But in general, like you get so attached to those that even though you know the live action product is probably going to be garbage, you just kind of watch it anyway out of morbid curiosity, and you just feel super bitter.
At all this time and effort that they're putting into this, they could just be writing like another series in the Avatar universe. Like CGI is just another type of animation. I hate live action. It's not. It's just 3D animation.
Well, like, see, the thing is too, like, I'd imagine like Netflix budget for movies would be a lot higher than TV shows, just because like on the basis that it's a movie, it's going to get a higher budget. But like you have to spread those out from episode to episode, and like that won't be good for something that needs something that looks super realistic, not like this piece of shit.
I mean that'd be cool, but
also like this is a movie with like a $1 billion budget versus like a Netflix show. I doubt they would get some sets that look like this. They'd have to like CG everything. I know, but still, like I feel like some set pieces in the movie, I feel like there was green screen with some set pieces like that were actually kind of made for them to interact with. But
so what do you think is the big thing that's going to make it fail potentially? Like, what do you think it won't live up to on a live action medium versus an animation medium?
I think SFX is a big one.
And options for comedic effect that only work in cartoons and do not work in live action.
Oh my god, the Full Metal Alchemist like live action one from Japan. They tried. They tried.
They gave it a good try. They did.
So Nicholas says the characters might not be true to their originals. What are your guys' opinion on that?
That's a possibility.
That's something I'm not as worried about because
it's like a slim possibility, but it's still a possibility to me.
It's slim, but at the same time, it's Brand and Mike writing their same characters. Despite everything, I still trust them that much to not screw up.
Someone said they would need more conversation comedy, like top line jokes. Yeah, things like The Good Place and I think The Office and Parks and Rec do a good job at conversation comedy. So like, I think that's a possibility, but it's still like, it's not. I don't know. With something like Avatar, it doesn't feel as right, but I guess we'll see.
My biggest thing is they're not making live action from scratch. They already have a basis to find that on. So they already know what worked. They already know the formula. They already know their end goal. So there's no like, oh, the plot's going to suck. Like, we know it's not. It's just the execution that's going to matter. And I'm personally on the side of if they spend a lot of time in pre-production and employ stunt choreographers that do a very good job of blocking the shots and then working with like cinematographers that are setting those shots. Like, I think the shots that Bryke uses in the actual animated show is very like from the Eastern influence, so like all those kung fu movies. I feel like they could pull it off. It's just everything needs to be tightly edited and fast paced. And if they're not,
and
just
also like someone said in the chat, action comedy would be good too, kind of like Jackie Chan style.
Yeah,
I think so. But like the number one thing that I don't want, like one of the things I don't want them to do when it comes to action shots is what like everybody's been doing with action shots lately, and just going cut
yeah,
to everything.
Exactly.
Just keep it like as close to one take as possible.
I have a cool example. This is a stunt choreography for Black Panther. This is like some like mock-up they did, right? I'm going to show it to you guys. And I think it does very well because it's all about camera work and like editing that makes it sound good. So it shows it how through the camera, and then it just shows it someone filming from the side and how that all looks. So I'm going to show that to you.
I don't remember who said it, but they said something about how hard it's going to be for them to find an actor who not only is Asian and like looks like he's like maybe 10 or 11, because Aang looks so much younger than he is.
Well, is he 12?
He is, yeah. Okay. But I just mean like he looks so much younger than that in the show because
get away with
listen, we Asians look young all the time, okay? But yeah, they
get someone who's 27.
Yeah, somebody's like 27 who's a good actor but is also like really good at martial arts.
Yeah.
It's just,
I feel like,
and also like the specific kind of Asian that fits each nation, or else people are going to be complaining all over the place.
I feel like that might be hard, especially for like the Water Nation.
Water Tribe?
Oh yeah, Water Tribe. Sorry.
Come on, Bonnie.
Freudian slip. You're like Shyamalan made this exact mistake. He called everything a nation except for the air nomads.
Sorry. Stick says if the stunts and action in the show was something like this or like Daredevil, I might be okay.
Wait, Daredevil as in like the movie from 2003?
No. On Netflix, the Marvel.
Oh, okay,
series.
good. Okay, good.
And there's also, you have to look at, there's Iron Fist. I know a lot of people complain about the fighting sequences in that show, but it all really comes down to editing. If it was a lot more fast paced, because the actual choreography is pretty good. It's just how they edit it together. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, like editing, make it all fast paced, but also have as few cuts as possible.
You can even do that with long tracking shots, you know? It just has to be done well, where there's kind of like hidden cuts. So like a really good example is Atomic Blonde hallway scene, like a huge 7-minute long tracking shot. John Wick is really good for this. Kingsman,
I heard that Upgrade was
the
also.
church scene. That one's an insane.
Oh man,
I heard
so good.
I also heard like Upgrade that came out recently that did really good like camera tricks when it came to choreography. Like the camera moved when he picked someone up and threw them, and like it even rotated.
Not
I still need to watch
out
that
of my actual mouth.
Yes, queen. Yes, queen.
Seriously,
so sweet.
if they brought in something like that, if the like cinematography is on point, then that's great. I'm still gonna watch and support it, but I'll feel better if in the first episode the cinematography is beautiful.
Yeah, because I feel like...
Are you saying cinematography on purpose?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just want to make sure.
The sound is also a big part of it that makes everything sound like it's moving. Without sound, like things in the show actually moves kind of slow.
I love seeing like that meme of like action movie scenes. Like there was one with Deadpool and it worked so well. And there's also like the Raid Redemption one that like I think was on Tumblr and I reblogged it once. And there's also a few with like the shitty Final Destination death sequences that just made it a lot better.
Sound effects and music are everything.
AZ said just get track team back for the movie. Yes, I believe
Yes,
Zuckerman is working with them.
Sorry. I just nutted a little bit, but like see, it's stuff like that makes me have more hope. But when I say I have more hope, I'm saying more hope than before, and it really it's not much.
Thanks. Ian Alexander from the OA should play Aang. Ooh, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the OA. That's a Netflix
I have
too.
Yeah, who was he?
The trans kid.
Oh my god, okay, yes. Oh my god, yes.
It fits. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how people will feel about I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I just know there's gonna be like a ton of shit over it, and I'm just like not.
Which is stupid.
He's got his big, bold, beautiful eyebrows, but I think like if you kind of tone those down a little bit, I think you've got Aang pretty close.
Yeah, seriously. He's adorable. Like would be the perfect Aang and would make everyone fall in love with him.
It depends also on the route of like, are they gonna find somebody and train them, or are they gonna find somebody who's already like?
Yeah, like is he trainable?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Joe Clayton.
We've heard all these stories about what people do and go through to get roles. Like, there's probably someone out there that'll learn martial arts if they can be Aang. Like, that's a character I feel like would be any kid's dream.
Yeah.
Or any, like, 25-year-old that looks like a kid's dream.
Yeah.
Not saying me. I was going to say, if they do a casting call for Zuko, I bet you guys $1,000 Dante Bosco is going to force his way into that audition.
Like, you guys...
He's gonna play Uncle Iroh.
He's gonna do something. Brian and Mike are in like witness protection.
Wait. So can Seychelles Gabriel be in this?
Yes, I'm saying Brian and Mike have to be in witness protection right now because they've got like Seychelles Gabriel, like Dante Bosco, David Faustino. They're all breathing down their necks, trying to like find them and be like, "Hey, can I be in this live action, please?"
Honestly, I think Seychelles would be the only one that could get away with it. Like, she even got away with being Yue, despite her fucking dialogue. That wasn't her fault. Yeah. But, like, she definitely looked the part. And honestly, I think that was where I started having a little crush on her. But, like, that's another story, another time. Yeah, someone said they're worried about the tone in the live-action series, and it might get too serious. And also, like just the humor in general.
Yes, because the humor is like the best part of Avatar. Like, and I think also the story and the animation, but the humor.
And it might be hard. I think the problem with doing adaptations is you got to keep it somewhat fresh. And you know, they did this with Harry Potter too. Like towards the end, they didn't make it like verbatim. They like try to make their own jokes and their own things like that. So I feel like they would change a lot of the humor, and hopefully it lands well. Because I feel like with most of the jokes on Avatar, it did land well, but I'm not sure if it will. Another person says they're worried about the acting too.
Oh yeah, always worried about the acting,
especially child actors. Stranger Things got lucky, but like other than that,
well, listen, in casting wise at least, I'm not as worried anymore with Netflix when it comes to child actors because they seem to find like these diamonds in the rough that I guess they've been growing in a secret mine somewhere. They just come out of nowhere. I don't know. I think
the issue though, like with the casting too, is like I really appreciate the effort going into finding like culturally, racially accurate actors and stuff. But my main worry is that they can find those actors, but like finding a good one might be difficult to do.
I mean, there are way more like out of work wannabe actors that are like of Asian descent than people think. Like Asian people make up most of the population in the world. So like as a general blanket term. So I mean like there are gonna be enough people. The people are there. Like I don't like when people are like that narrows the search down too much. We're not gonna find any good actors. Like we will. Trust me. The people are there.
And then like you're only looking at based on U.S. movies or like English speaking movies. You're not looking at these foreign movies that do have very good,
incredible actors.
Yeah,
right. I'm just kind of going through like what like the U.S. Execs and casting directors might be thinking.
They will. They'll definitely. That'll be a point that's always brought up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think at the very least, we never have to worry about whitewashing. Or, you know, them not being culturally aware of who they're casting, because I feel like that was a major point. And they said in that little article that that's something they're going to focus on, too.
Yeah, they should have just continued the Avatar series. It doesn't have to be, like, Avatar the Last Airbender all over again. They could have just done an Earthbender Avatar, or even, like...
Animated. Emphasis on animated.
an animated Earthbender or animated Firebender. Like, even if it's with this live action, if they had done a live action version that's just a completely different story, it would be different. But they're just doing the same exact story, like reimagined. Like, I don't know. It's just, that worries me.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that Nickelodeon is also helping, like, Netflix usually allows way more shit to go under the radar, but like with Nickelodeon at the helm, they might be more stringent, and they might not really be able to explore things that could be explored if Netflix solely was watching them.
So Nicholas says, to me, it seemed they being Breik, had some Avatar fatigue, but maybe it was specific to the animation process, and live action is something different, so it worked.
It's easier, quote unquote.
I feel it's the same. It's just different things you're working with. So I feel like one of the things that might benefit Breik is that they do come from like a storyboarding. Like everything has to be detailed. You have to know every single frame. And that kind of doesn't always happen with live action movies. Sometimes it kind of happens the day before, okay, now we're blocking, we're prepping, we're getting a shot list down, or you do a previs. I'm not anticipating something to happen because he was drawing a lot of Avatar stuff, and it was detailed stuff. It's not like a sketch here and there. And I'm like, oh, dude, it's concept art. It's something.
It was like new ass stuff too.
I hadn't seen any of that. I need some links, dude.
It was on his Instagram, I want to say. Yeah.
No.
And I feel like maybe since they're going this live action route, it kind of makes them more passionate about it again. I'm pretty sure they're burnt out, and they kind of like didn't care anymore, really. And I guess since they could do something new, something they really haven't done before, gives them like a new sort of passion and like excitement and energy to like go through with this. Nolan said, I picture Project VOICEBEND learning CGI and special effects to make a parody of live action Avatar.
Dude, no, don't tempt us. Don't. If we do, fucking, it's gonna take 2 years.
Yeah.
No, that's really generous math on your end.
Yeah. Fendon said, assuming the show won't be terrible, or at least keep the franchise relevant. I don't even think that's needed in order for it to be relevant. And you can, like, the comics still make it relevant.
Yeah, like, they've been milking things like Halloween and The Predator and all this stuff. Yeah. But, like, the classics are still, like, they're still there. They're still really notorious, and like it just seems very obvious that they're milking it with the excuse of like keeping up relevance. But it's like it's still relevant today. A lot of people use the classic movies as like their influences directing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, still I understand why they're doing it.
I mean, yeah.
They're at least if we can't get any other kind of content, like we're pretty thirsty folks. Like I'm going to consume this media. I'm going to, even if I have to do it drunk. Like I'll do it.
So, which character do you think will be the hardest to translate to live action?
Sokka, without a doubt, fucking Sokka.
Definitely Sokka. There's something.
Zuko would probably be the easiest.
An Azula who's good at portraying Azula's confidence, but also a slight tinge of unrest in her mind, I guess, without being full Bellatrix Lestrange in the movies. Like I don't want someone to like take it too far.
Helena Bonham Carter plays Azula in the live action show.
I mean, like you know, like people try to get too edgy with it, and that's not Azula. That's not what makes her so good. She's not edgy. Mm-hmm. That's Zuko. Leave that. That's Zuko's shit. Well, I was gonna say, whoever plays Zuko, if they don't like scoff at least once, it's not right.
So Fendon says, I don't envy whoever has to portray Iroh. Tough shoes to fill. I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree because I feel like there's a lot of there's a lot of actors who have that kind of wise older man vibe. You know, I feel like nailing down the calmness might be difficult, but I feel like
as long as he doesn't, not to make another Harry Potter reference, but as long as he doesn't go full like, hey, I need to put your name in the fucking goblet fire, you little bitch. Like if he doesn't do that, it'll be fine.
Oh my god.
Harry Shum for Zuko. All dancers can be great martial artists. Who's that?
That was Harry Shum. I think he's the guy from Glee, right?
He's 36.
The guy who's married to Peridot. Whatever. Asians don't crack, okay? We stay pretty young.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm really not as worried about. The martial arts being portrayed properly, because they put so much heart and effort and
but people are gonna be like, he's not Japanese, he's Costa Rican. It doesn't count. I'm complaining.
Oh no, I didn't mean him. I'm saying I'm not worried about the martial artists being like legit. Because, especially if they have Sifu Kisu, if they bring him back on. Okay, as long as they get someone who's like, we want a handsome Zuko.
You don't think
someone who looks. No, I'm saying he is. As long as they get someone who's handsome, I'll be happy with it. Is what I was getting at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't need an ugly Zuko. I'm superficial. I'm a Libra. It's almost Libra season.
So EAME says, have you guys talked about the ages? Do you think they're going to use the original ages? Yes, we've talked about it, but I don't think they're inevitably. I think it's just going to be older, marketed as.
It's kind of like if they semi-look the age.
Yeah. But that's what normally happens with like any.
Or it's a reimagining. It could be them in the high school AU, and there's been a murder in the town, and.
Detective Zuko is on the case.
Jesus, can you imagine? This would be better for Korra, because Detective Mako, my son.
So why do they keep insisting on turning animated movies and series into live-action remakes? Has it ever worked except for superhero movies? Money.
Money.
It has an existing fan base, so you're guaranteed to have money, and it's better not to take a risk on something that's new and hopefully gains traction.
They can put on their nostalgia goggles for a quick second.
And
which
instead
is
of
their,
taking a risk, because taking a risk, guys, I'm going to say it again, in this economy.
Yeah. So there is movies out there that are original, and you should definitely support them. But
oh god, someone said live action Atla, but everyone is played by Dante Bosco.
We know that's you, Dante, behind a fake username. Like, come on.
Do you guys think it would be smart to remake the Last Airbender series, or would it be better to adapt the comics that happened after the show?
The comics?
I don't think either, because it feels too soon for a remake or animated sequels and stuff.
I feel like animated comics, but with the stories more fleshed out, and in actual animated episodic story form, it would probably be less, there's just some things they couldn't get across in comic form. And we all know, and we've seen that comic adaptations to books or shows work, especially on Netflix. They are pros at that. So I say the comics on Netflix would have been much better.
Yeah, definitely. Or at least if they were going to make any show, it would have been Korra, because you could change it now that they have that outside.
Yes.
So Ooze333 says, I just wonder how much the budget each season of the live action show will be, if there even are seasons structurally. Shows like Lost in Space and Altered Carbon got $100 million for the first season. Yeah, I think that's also something to consider. If they don't have the budget, yeah, if they don't have the budget like these other sci-fi fantasy shows do, then it's obviously going to suffer for that. Work still there? Is the acting still there? Is the writing still there? And if you look back to your old, your favorite movies that did have a lot of visual effects, you'll forgive bad CGI because the story itself was good. So,
I get that. I completely understand that. Yeah. But I also think sometimes nowadays people rely way too heavily on CGI when they're perfectly good practical effects that are so realistic that they scared the people that make them.
Yes, they need fucking practical effects, but I know that's not going to happen because bending is very hard to do with practical effects. Appa and Momo might be impossible to do with practical effects. That worries me.
Appa and Momo would be incredible to do with practical effects. Do you know how advanced they've gotten with robot technology? Incredible.
I mean, with Appa's size and his flight and stuff.
Then remember they made all the dinosaurs and everything with practical effects in Jurassic Park. They can do it, especially with something Appa's size. You don't want to have to CGI that into cinema.
Yeah, but remember with Jurassic Park 2, they used a mix of practical effects and CG, depending on what the dinosaurs were doing.
Yeah.
So when it was CG, you knew it was CG.
But it also, if they did a mix in this live action Avatar, I would be happy with that. A happy mix of practical effects and CGI, that can work in harmony if they do it right.
Yeah.
Ooze333 says, also depends on who's directing. No shaky cam, please. I feel like shaky cam was very like a trend almost. I feel shaky cam works just depending on what you're doing. Sometimes.
Like if you do it too close up and too much, and for like no reason, then like this, like the movement makes sense. Like if the theoretical cameraman would be experiencing the same motions and like vibrations in the ground or whatever that the characters would be going through, then that makes sense. But like if it's there just for the sake of looking cool and like live actiony and then what's the point?
Yeah,
like it's just very not meaning.
I don't think shaky cam will work anyway. As he points out later, is that for CGI you want a static shot and make artificial movement later. It'd probably be a little bit more static-ish. Totally depends.
Well, like if they're doing like action scenes and stuff, that like with the actors and the stunt people, then that's fine.
Let's take a.
I want actual good camera work though. I don't want it to just be like shaky cam for the sake of shaky cam.
Like Hollywood bullshit.
Okay. Yeah, I want it to be like more like an independent. Someone did just ask, like, what if they made Zutara in the live action? Did I mention that Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino are spearheading this? Like, did you miss that part? They would never allow that, like, ever.
Yeah, I don't think it would happen.
Brian would rather die.
Remember, he is like the authority of all relationships.
Yeah, so the footage proves that the Shyamalan can't film martial art choreography. It's too slow and simple. So I was looking at it, and it's like, save for Aang's part, there's actually movement, but like it's slow, and they're not cutting to the right places. And if you're gonna have a long trunking shot, there has to be movement everywhere. Like our eyes have to be diverted to this, to this, to this, and also the lighting. Everything looks the same, so.
But it's like they're in slow mo.
Yeah, and I guess that was my whole point. Like there is good choreography. You just have to employ the right people. But I guess like my thing is that we're basing this off of a failed live action movie that was pretty much failed from the get-go. Didn't Nickelodeon pull a Nickelodeon and cut the budget? I don't think they cut the budget. It had a very extreme budget. They might have rushed production though.
I think so, yeah.
At least the post-production. That's why you have like bad CGI. So. And
shitty 3D. And plus, it's the fact that Nickelodeon was involved in both the movie and this live action show they're doing. Still nervous a little bit on what they can and cannot do. Now, M. Night was literally the reason for the pronunciation of the names. He did write the story for the movie, so the writing and directing were on him, but the cast and special effects were on the studio.
Okay, so he still does deserve some of the hate, but not all of it.
Not all of it.
But a good portion of it.
I think if he knew it was going to fail from the very beginning, there must have been something happening in pre-production that made him feel that way. He just probably just give up at that point.
But I mean, it was also 2010. Effects kind of sucked then. Not like James Cameron Avatar. That was supposed to be like innovative at the time.
Yeah.
So then they had no excuse.
Any final thoughts about this live action series?
Let us have it.
My final thought is just that hopefully they're going to have more creative control when it comes to this live action series, and hopefully they employ people who know what they're doing, especially since they probably haven't really dealt with the live action filmmaking process. So if they have a good writer with them, a good director, and a good DP and stunt choreographer, I think they might be set. I think everything else
Knowing them though, I think like besides the cinematographer or something, I think they'll just end up using the same writing staff and the same kind of people behind it that were there last time.
Okay. So animation and like special effects and everything in 2010, they were fine. At the time, they were great for like where we were at in like the animation and like CGI phase. But like looking back, you can easily pinpoint that it is from the 2010s. Like if you're looking at animation, I can always pinpoint what decade or what year animation is from, just like based off of the style.
Yeah,
and it's so easy to tell the 2010s because at the time I was obsessed with How to Train Your Dragon. I watched it all the time. I thought those effects were the most beautiful things in the world. That was when high definition HD started really becoming a thing that we started drilling into everyone's heads, because that's where the effects were. It was right when HD started becoming a thing. So now with HD at the point that it is, 2010 special effects don't look as good on these new 4K TVs. So like that's what we mean. Like 2010 effects were extremely different. It's been 8 years, and in the technology world, that's forever.
That's 20.
Yeah, I think the point they were getting at though was like the bad effects in the Last Airbender movie are kind of excusable because of the year in anime and like effects and stuff. But like I was just pointing out, like it was 2010. Like we know it's dated now, but at the time it's like there's no excuse for this. And plus, this was also when the hype around 3D movies started happening. Like
Yeah.
I actually think
God.
James Cameron was at fault for that again.
He
But-
was, yes. So it's the effects better be really effing good, because if they're just subpar, it's not gonna age well. Like
Yeah.
it's never gonna get better.
I
Right.
think they really need to be considerate of the post-production deadlines and allow a lot more time for them to develop and like be able to work on it, not just rush through it, and that way it could be polished. If it's rushed, then it's going to look crappy. But I think at the end of the day, CGI effects can be forgivable if it has a good plot, good characters, and it delivers in everything else.
Anyway, I feel scared, but I trust Sprite. I just feel way less passionate about Atla than Ella Cave nowadays. I'm looking forward nonetheless. Cautious optimism is a good way to describe.
Yeah. We'll
I'm
talk
the
about
other
it.
way. I have zero trust in all. Like at all.
Pessimism. Just complete. Same. I mean, yeah, same.
I can tell you're trying, and that's commendable, but I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Considering how Bragg's writing and like book 4 and stuff went downhill, I'm not super confident.
Okay, so we'll probably talk more about this as more details come to be. Being cautious, but having some sort of optimism is the best way for me to describe it.
Or being a pessimist if you need to be, and then hopefully being pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
You never know.
Let's just hope they do it right. I feel like with all the shit The Last Airbender gets, I feel like they would be very cautious to make sure they get it right.
Oh, very cautious.
Yeah,
They
so
don't.
hopefully they will.
They don't put. You've seen how bad fandoms get. They die. They know that. These
Yeah.
people are crazy.
Yep. And that's it. So,
Alrighty, thanks for coming. Bye.
bye.